Welcome to The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. This week, our show features Braunvieh, and we're going to see these cattle at work in commercial settings across the country. Braunvieh are a remarkably versatile and hardy breed with proven ability to deliver both maternal and carcass traits. On today's program, we're going to focus on the bull power asset that has always marked these exceptional cattle. Braunvieh bulls impact commercial programs in a number of positive ways. They have a track record of feeding efficiently while both grading and yielding well at finish. Stockmen that know these cattle through the beef production cycle will visit with us and tell us their thoughts on this breed. A little later, we'll visit the Genetic Development Center outside Navasota, Texas, where a group of breeders have concluded a detailed performance test on a set of yearling bulls. We've got a good show for you. We're glad you joined us. Stay tuned. We'll be back with our Braunvieh story. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Braunvieh cattle have been recognized for a number of positive traits, including docility, efficiency, and longevity. In herds across the country, they are also proven to bring both maternal quality and carcass punch in the same package. On today's show, our focus will be on the power of the Braunvieh bull and what he delivers to commercial ranchers from the pasture to the feed yard and onto the rail. Introducing performance-tested Braunvieh bulls to your commercial cow herd takes a lot of the guesswork out of your bull buying decisions. The history of added value brought by using Braunvieh bulls just makes the decision to buy Braunvieh bulls that much easier. North of Frederick, Oklahoma, Mitchell Farms has a commercial cow-calf operation consisting of Black Baldy and Red Angus cow herds with Braunvieh sired calves at side. Jerry and Brian Mitchell do like what Braunvieh has brought to their program.
We've got our Red Angus cows, and we've also got Black Baldy cows. And we've been using Braunvieh bulls on them for the last 5 to 6 years. And we've used some homozygous Black Braunvieh bulls on our Black Baldface cows this year. We put our bulls in at a time where we start calving around the 1st of February. And we start pulling our bulls when 60 to 70 days. Seems like our birth weights will run around, on an average, around 80 pounds. Our calves are really big bone type calves, feed efficiency, and they really convert well.
We really like them. When they're born, they look like a little jackrabbit. Maybe not too impressive, but they quickly grow out of it. And then you start to see the muscle formation. Once we get those calves into our feeding pens, really have to watch them. Before you know it, you're feeding over 3% of their body weight in feed, and of course they do outperform our other calves that we have grown here and the calves we've bought.
Time and again, Braunvieh influence introduced to English and English cross cow herds have brought lasting value. The feeder calves perform quite well in the yard, and the retained heifers are documented to have exceptional longevity and production.
Pretty docile, and they transfer that to their calves too. Their cattle is, their calves are easy going, easy handling. Those bulls almost act like sometimes they're a little lazy, but they do their job. Superior Rep that we use, he found those bulls for us in Nebraska.
What I like about the Braunvieh cattle, it's just their attitude and their conversion rate and the way they handle. What really got me was when you went to get them off of the cattle when it's time to pull them, there was no problem, there was no fight and any big deal. You just pull them, and when you turn them back, when it's time to put them back on the cows, they went right to work. I mean, there wasn't any walking around, bowed up, anything. I mean, they just started doing what they were supposed to do.
Mitchell Farms markets their calves over superior livestock through Bud Willis. The cattle work well and are readily received come auction time.
They're easy to market. I'll call those feed yard guys, and a lot of times prior to the sale, let them know that they're only going to be on that particular sale. I've had one buyer that bought them 3 years in a row, every one of them. In fact, one year I had 10 loads of them on Denver, and the man took all 10 loads. They're docile and they're carcass cattle. You know, that's the easiest way to explain them. They're going to sell.
They was from 10 to 11 months of age, and they was weighing 887 on the steers, and the heifers weighed 790. They've worked real well for us. Come auction time, they sell just as well as our black cattle do.
Braunvieh are a moderate-framed, highly adaptable breed, known for possessing and defying the antagonistic traits of marbling and muscle, and also maternal and carcass. They are also at the forefront of recognized feed-efficient breeds.
They transfer that feeding efficiency, and that's dollars in our pocket, and so that's probably that growth and that bone. That's the number one thing that we like out of these Braunvieh cattle.
If you're not having to go out every 3 years and buy another bull, or 4 years, and you still have a very sound bull that's lasting 5, 6, 7 years, you're saving money. The Braunvieh bulls are producing a very feed-efficient, docile type of calf, and that's going to grade very well.
Randy Olson is a commercial rancher from southeast Kansas. Randy asserts that the Braunvieh Angus cross female is this generation's equivalent of the black baldy cow.
The cattle have made us money and have done really well for us. And that's the thing that with the Braunvieh cattle that has impressed me is the carcass traits. But we've got the maternal traits there, the good mothers, the breed back, the tremendous udders, the teats on cows, heifers, you calve them out that are little, and they're just a phenomenal mama. I'm running the Braunvieh Angus cross is what I'm really shooting for, and I tell them, a lot of the guys I know and ask me about them, I said, to me, they're the modern black baldy cow, because you get the hybrid vigor and the cross, you get the breed back, the good mothers, the tremendous udder and stuff, but you don't get into the eye problems and the udder problems that you run into some of the other deals.
The Olson operation has seen their Braunvieh-influenced calves work at all stages from weaning to feed yard performance. On the bull side, the cattle bring siring ability to put forth calves with remarkable carcass and maternal traits.
They're real good cattle. We've messed with several different breeds down through the years, and that's probably one of the big things that I just sure want to make sure we keep in our cow herd is the Braunvieh influence.
Fred Schroeder of Shelton, Nebraska has fed Braunvieh for some 10 years. He has grown to like the ability of Braunvieh cattle to achieve choice quality grade without losing yield grade.
The marketing window on the Braunvieh breed, of course, is quite a bit wider since their yield grade does remain low. Their back fat measures less, and it really gives you more flexibility in finding that optimal marketing date.
Fred notes that Braunvieh cattle on feed always do well and grade well. They provide market value consistently with high carcass value. Many who feed them realize the profits of owning them through the yard.
The Braunvieh cattle we will own all the way from their calf weights, 500 to 600 pounds. We need cattle that are going to achieve some frame, and at the same time, not become too fat. Having the cattle grid well at the end of that period is foremost. So they need to be efficient all the way through, and we've found the Braunvieh to be able to do that. The buyers do recognize the quality of the cattle. They fit what they need in the plant.
Braunvieh and Braunvieh cross cattle can be harvested at an efficient endpoint and reach an acceptable quality grade before carcasses get too big. This eliminates those later, costly days on feed.
The Braunvieh cattle typically will achieve a higher quality grade while maintaining a lower yield grade. Both of those things give us premium. When you're selling on the grid, you need to have both of those things working in your favor to be able to get the value of that critter as high as possible, and the Braunvieh breed does that for us.
Many producers buy Braunvieh bulls with retained ownership in mind to capitalize on Braunvieh added feed efficiency and harvest value.
From my perspective as a feedlot operator, I would like to be able to find more Braunvieh cattle. A lot of those producers know the value of their cattle, and so therefore they take them to finish. If they don't have a feedlot, they may find one. So there's less supply available for those of us who have to buy calves.
Braunvieh breeders know they have bulls that bring the power that commercial cattlemen need today from the pasture to the yard and on to harvest. The cattle marble without increasing external fat. They are efficient and are sought by feed yards who know their capabilities.
I'll continue to feed Braunvieh cattle because they've always given us a good opportunity for high-quality grading cattle that will return a premium when sold on the grid, and that's the name of the game.
At all points in the beef production cycle, Braunvieh have established themselves as performers, which makes room for them once cattlemen get to know them. In fact, one breeder noted that repeat customers are at times easier to come by than the new ones. He's not discouraged at all and simply welcomes new people to meet cattlemen who know these cattle. When we come back, we'll see the Braunvieh bulls on test in Texas. This is The American Rancher. Don't go away. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Braunvieh bulls are making a name for themselves in American ranching as an efficient breed through residual feed intake testing. Over the past few years, Braunvieh breeders from multiple states have sent groups of young bulls to the Genetic Development Center in Navasota, Texas, to test, measure, document, and identify some of the best calves in the breed. Here's more on our story. Dustin Dean serves as program director of the Cattle Testing and Breeding Complex, which includes the global reproductive services entity, Sexing Technologies. The Genetic Development Center recently wrapped up testing on a group of some 26 yearling Braunvieh bulls from a number of breeders.
I tell you, the number one thing that comes to mind when I think of a Braunvieh bull today, when I think of these Braunvieh bulls that are behind me now, is one word, and that's power. Get them out, getting them walking in the pen, you can see the muscling and the power in those bulls, but it's in a compact package. The breed has done a good job of moderating the size of these bulls to when they're mature, they're not going to be too big for your cattle, but they do bring power to the equation. So if I'm sitting down with a commercial cattleman that's thinking about using Braunvieh bulls, they can get a Braunvieh bull of pretty much a traditional color. They can get a homozygous black bull that will always throw black calves. They can get a bull that will throw a moderate birth weight. When that calf hits the ground, it's going to grow very, very fast and ultimately end up looking like the cattle that are behind me right now. So they bring power to the equation, which I think is a detriment to some of the other breeds that haven't been able to really focus on that like they should. But these cattle have.
Ryan Dorner serves as facility manager of the Genetic Development Center and notes that the Braunvieh cattle are stout and yet quite gentle.
Well, they're here for roughly 4 months. It's 133 days. We have our first 3 weeks of diet adaptation and warm-up period, and then 70 days after that, it's our grow safe portion of the test. Within those 70 days, we weigh bulls every 2 weeks, and that's the time period where we're recording our individual feed intake. We carcass ultrasound every bull that comes through. We also fertility test every bull that comes through the facility. We do a BSE, a complete BSE. And then also, upon request, we take blood and do a bunch of DNA sampling, and we'll send that off. We've had Braunviehs all 4 tests. I think Luke and I would both say that they're easy to work.
These set of bulls probably averaged around 1,300 pounds coming off. We're always around them. They're very gentle cattle. I think if people are able to look past hide color and coat color, they'll find the Braunviehs they really excel in most categories.
The cattle industry is constantly pushing to develop a more efficient animal. Yeah, Braunvieh cattle have a place in the cow business for sure.
The Genetic Development Center is one of the nation's finest custom bull and heifer development facilities for the profit-minded producer. The center comes fully equipped with individual animal intake measurement equipment from GrowSafe Systems and is the most advanced cattle feed efficiency testing facility in the world.
We're standing here at the Genetic Development Center, which is actually one of the many profit centers of the parent company, which is called Sexing Technologies. Sexing Technologies is a global livestock reproductive company. We have offices in over 10 countries now, but the global headquarters here is in Brazos County, Texas. And at the facility is the global headquarters for the sex semen production. That's the core business of the company. We also have one of the largest ET and in vitro fertilization facilities in North America. When we were in the first stages of design on this facility, we perhaps built the whole thing around one idea, and that was animal comfort. Pride and joy of the facility is really going to be the Temple Grandin custom designed sorting facility. We have our own feed mill. It's called More Feeds. So we're able to customize these rations when they come to this facility. If you Google Sexing Technologies, our website will come up. It's just that, sexingtechnologies.com. The Genetic Development Center website is geneticdevelopmentcenter.com. Both of those give a lot of information about the facility, explanation and about the technology, how it actually happens, how to use it on a day-to-day basis at your purebred or your commercial operation.
Braunvieh breeders have placed consecutive groups of young bulls on test at the Genetic Development Center for the past 2 to 3 years. Some of the bulls have sold straight from the facility after completing the test period.
I just can't tell you the number of times I've brought bulls down here with preconceived notions about this one's going to be great and that one maybe so. There's just a lot of times when you'll miss if you pick on looks alone. The other thing that's important is it impacts your herd for so long, because if you're not testing and you begin using a bull's genetics, it's at least 2 years before you have your first calf, and it takes 3 or 4 years for that calf to get in production. So you can really go backwards a long way if you're not careful. I know that there's a lot of us that are doing everything we can to raise the best cattle we can. I'll say this, we've got a great piece of raw material. And you know, the Braunvieh breed is a great breed. I have a lot more difficult time getting that first time buyer, but the repeat customer is pretty easy to come by because these cattle do everything that you hear about and that we're saying they'll do. Proof's in the pudding.
Braunvieh bulls bring power to commercial beef operations. They are hardy and robust breeders that are proven for efficiency, soundness, and docility. The Braunvieh Association of America invites you to find out what Braunvieh can do for you. Under the Membership Service tab at braunvieh.org, you'll find breeders from all across America that are willing to help you get started. Put some Braunvieh bull power in your herd. You'll like it all the way through.
Feed comprises about 70% of all costs for cattle operations. So how do cattle producers improve the feed efficiency of their herds and increase the profitability of their businesses? With GrowSafe Systems. GrowSafe feed intake and behavior monitoring technology has been installed in dozens of major ag universities, research centers, and seed stock operations worldwide, including the Noble Foundation in Oklahoma.
And we work pretty closely with GrowSafe. It's been a really good relationship with them. We're able to serve as a test location for some of their prototype equipment, some of their software algorithms we're able to use and evaluate for them in a field situation.
The technology has provided the means to identify which animals require less feed for growth and maintenance. The scientific term for this is residual feed intake, better known as RFI. RFI is also known as net feed intake, or NFI.
The GrowSafe feed intake system is really powerful because it lets us measure feed intake of individual animals in a commercial environment, and that lets us easily calculate feed efficiency for individuals instead of relying on calculations for a pen or for a herd.
Here's how the system works. To determine RFI, a GrowSafe system takes an accurate measurement of feed consumed by each animal during the feeding trial. The weight of the feed and the weight of the animal, as well as average daily gain, is then used to calculate RFI and determine how efficient the animal is.
A really cool feature of the GrowSafe system for a researcher is just the sheer amount of data that it produces. In a traditional feeding experiment, we may only have 3 observations of an animal's body weight. 1 weight on a chute scale at the beginning of the experiment, 1 maybe in the middle, and 1 at the end of the experiment. With the GrowSafe beef system, we may get 60 or 70,000 observations of an animal's body weight. And when we get that kind of data, that allows us to use some more advanced statistical analysis techniques that just aren't available if you don't have that type of data.
Improve feed efficiency, reduce costs, ensure animal health and well-being. That's GrowSafe Systems. For more information, visit www.growsafe.com.
We'd like to thank all of our guests for a great show. The Braunvieh Association of America is a quality group that's developing a very commercially and economically viable breed that's delivering both bull power and carcass punch in a stout package for today's rancher. For more information, log on to braunvieh.org. That's all the time we have here today. We invite you to visit our website, theamericanrancher.com, and check us out on Facebook as well. I'm Pam Minnick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you down the road.